WYMT Mountain News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. People are taking advantage of the option to vote early, which started in Kentucky yesterday. WYMT's Phil Pendleton visited a few places in southern Kentucky where people were visiting voting centers and has more.
Laurel County has 15 voting centers as going to a precinct has become a thing of the past.
I think that it's silly to have voting precincts. You should be able to vote the nearest place to your home.
People can vote through Saturday at those centers and from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Tuesday.
Anybody can vote at any one of my 3 voting centers.
Okay, and there's 3 in the county?
3 in the county. And beginning on Tuesday, we want to have 4 other what they call combined locations.
Election officials say that despite the fact that there are so many different options to vote, they are still expecting turnout to be light. In Laurel County, they were telling me that possibly only as high as 25%.
With races unopposed, you may not have the turnout that you've had before. So I'm guessing 20 to 25. Would I like to see more? Absolutely. I'd like to see as many people as possible.
453 voted Thursday in Laurel County, with a bit higher turnout expected in Pulaski County by Election Day. That's where a lot are vying for various county seats such as sheriff or judge executive.
I was expecting 18,000 voters, which is 36% of about 50,000, but I've got 20,000 who never vote, so it's more like a 45% turnout. That's what, basically what it is.
Despite the option of early voting, election officials are still expecting a big rush from those wanting to stick to tradition and vote on Election Day Tuesday. In Pulaski and Laurel Counties, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
Laurel and Pulaski counties also have a majority of Republican voters, and in most cases, in most races, candidates do not have competition in the Democratic primary. 2 Kentucky high school students from Lexington have been named 2022 U.S. Presidential Scholars. Henry Clay High School's Grayson Kemplin and Paul Lawrence Dunbar High School's McKenna Sun were among 161 high school seniors from across the nation to be recognized Wednesday by U.S. Education Secretary Miguel Cardona. The award recognizes students for their accomplishments in academics, the arts, and career and technical education fields. CMT announces the performers and speakers for Naomi Judd's public memorial to be broadcast live Sunday night. Good Morning America's Robin Roberts, a close family friend of the Judds, will host the memorial. Ashley McBride, Brandy Carlisle, and Little Big Town are among the long list of performers. There will be special messages from Bono, Morgan Freeman, Oprah Winfrey, and Salma Hayek. Judd's husband, Larry Strickland, and her daughters, Winona and Ashley Judd, are all set to attend as well. Carly Pierce and Cody Allen will give commentary for CMT throughout the celebration of life. The memorial will be held at the former home of the Grand Ole Opry, the Ryman Auditorium in downtown Nashville, Tennessee.
Well, watching showers and thunderstorms across portions of the mountains this afternoon. In fact, we'll look out at one of our cameras at the moment at UVA Wise. We're seeing some of that rainfall working back on in. One of those showers right on top of Wise right now. In fact, you see some of that rain falling at the moment. 63 degrees, by the way, in Wise right now, where we've seen showers and storms already. Downtown Whitesburg, it's been a soggy one over the last little bit. You see the rain there in downtown. They still sit at 73, so we've actually seen some of that rainfall as well. This afternoon, you see, we are a little cooler into portions of Southwest Virginia, where we have seen some of that rainfall activity work on in. Everywhere else, though, in those low to mid 80s. In fact, that's where the heaviest of the rain is right now, right on top of Eola right now. Very heavy rain. We're talking 3 inches an hour. Won't last that long, but it will be moving to the west over the next little bit. If you're headed between 119 over toward Jenkins, even up to Pikeville, we're going to be seeing some showers and thunderstorms across the region over the next little bit. We're not done with this either. I'll have the very latest on when we could see even more showers and storms moving through coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Evan, thank you. Health officials in North Carolina are warning parents to be on the lookout for rare cases of hepatitis in their kids. As of yesterday, there are 9 pediatric cases in the state, up from 4 last week. Aaron Thomas reports.
Parents we spoke to at this park tonight appear to have the same goal in mind when it comes to their children.
Yeah, we try and keep them safe, from everything.
Adam Omar now watching out for a sudden uptick of hepatitis cases among children worldwide and in North Carolina. A shock to mothers like Keena Robinson.
Just found out about it. It's not really something I thought about lately.
Hepatitis is an inflammation of the liver and is caused by viruses or heavy alcohol use, according to medical experts. But these pediatric cases have local doctors puzzled.
It was very odd for us to have these number of cases.
Dr. Stephen Lichman says adenovirus may be a potential link to the sudden spike, as seen in about half of the cases in the United States.
An adenovirus is really, really common. It's a common virus that causes like colds or pink eye.
He says parents should be alert to the signs of hepatitis in children.
You only have to worry if you see that the urine looks dark and if the eyes are starting to turn yellow.
But there's no need for parents and caretakers to panic.
Kind of just makes it hard to go back to normal.
North Carolina is not the only state to see an uptick in pediatric hepatitis cases. The Centers for Disease Control reports at least 24 states plus Puerto Rico have reported outbreaks. Hawaii is also among them, not shown here. The CDC says it is working with state and local health departments to see if there are additional U.S. pediatric patients with hepatitis and what may be causing these illnesses. Members of Congress, a moment of silence on the Capitol steps Thursday to honor the 1 million Americans who have died from COVID-19. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi was joined by 15 other House Democrats. There were no House Republicans present or any members of the Senate. The Bishop of Washington's Episcopal Church led the group in prayer. After the moment of silence, the U.S. Air Force band played in tribute to those whose lives were lost. Nurses gathered at a courthouse in Tennessee to protest the sentencing of a former nurse who was convicted of negligent homicide in March. Redonda Vaught was convicted after she administered the wrong medication, resulting in the 2017 death of Charlene Murphy. Prosecutors say Murphy was supposed to receive a dose of a sedative, but was instead injected with vecuronium, which left her unable to breathe. Vaught's conviction is a rallying point for nurses frustrated by poor working conditions only made worse by the pandemic.
It's very disappointing that it's come to this in healthcare. To quote Florence Nightingale, nursing is the finest of all arts, and we intend for it to stay that way. Redonda is not a criminal, and she made a mistake, and we all are Redonda. So we are here to support today, and we are going to watch her walk out those doors.
A Nashville judge sentenced Vaught to 3 years probation for administering the wrong drug to the patient. Congressional Republicans are calling on U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland to take action against the protests being held near the homes of some U.S. Supreme Court justices. They want Garland to enforce a 1950 federal law that makes it illegal to voice opposition outside the homes of judges as an attempt to sway a decision. Since the controversial leak of a draft Supreme Court majority opinion that could overthrow Roe v. Wade, some people have gathered in front of the homes of conservative justices. The White House says President Biden is considering invoking the Defense Production Act to increase supplies of baby formula. Supplies are running out across the country with 43% less formula on store shelves. It was 31% last month. Yesterday, President Biden spoke with baby formula manufacturers and pressed them to step up on their own.
What we're doing here at this point in time is working with other manufacturers who can produce safe baby formula.
Biden administration officials say they are going to cut some packaging regulations to help get new products on the shelves faster. They are also calling for crackdowns on price gouging, and they are working on importing more formula from overseas. The continued increase in gas prices appears to be prompting Americans to cut spending elsewhere. A J.P. Morgan analysis of Chase card spending shows the 20% spike in gas prices since the start of Russia's invasion of Ukraine is lowering non-gas spending by about $9.6 billion a month. The bank also found the impact of high gas prices on consumer spending took time to accumulate, with the drag not clearly evident until 2 to 3 months after the spike. And lawmakers in New Jersey are working to make filling up the tank a little less painful on people living there by letting them pump it themselves. You may not know this, but New Jersey is one of 2 states in the country where you are legally not allowed to pump your own gas. If this changes, gas station owners say they would not hire as many attendants, passing those savings on to the customer, insisting it would not displace employees, but saying the labor shortage leaves them struggling to find people to pump gas. But most New Jerseyans appear to be against the move.
I could pump my own gas, but I like to see people working in New Jersey.
Like, we wouldn't know how to pump our own gas just because we're so used to it being done for us. I don't think 15 cents is a big difference. If it was more than 15 cents, maybe 50 cents, $1, then, but for that amount, let them pump our gas.
I was one that had no idea that was a law in that state today. A recent poll by Rutgers Eagleton shows 73% of New Jersey residents say they prefer having their gas pumped for them. Only 22% said they'd welcome doing it themselves. A court in Kyiv is hosting the first war crimes trial since Russia invaded Ukraine today. A 21-year-old soldier will become the first Russian to be tried for war crimes in Ukraine. The investigation alleges the Russian soldier killed an unarmed civilian who was riding a bicycle along the roadside in a village in the Sumy region on February 28th.
I believe in our judicial system. I have been participating in court hearings for 10 years. I know that the court will make a lawful, reasoned decision.
If found guilty, the Russian soldier faces up to life in prison. Israeli police reportedly used batons to beat crowds carrying the coffin of Al Jazeera journalist Shireen Abu Akleh within the yard of the St. Joseph Hospital in Jerusalem today. The coffin was rocked and pushed back into the hospital before it was allowed to leave towards its final burial site in the Mount Zion Cemetery. Police roadblocks were set up near the hospital. The Abu Akleh family were momentarily blocked before being allowed through. Crews are still struggling to contain a dangerous wildfire in California. It has burned at least 200 acres and destroyed at least 20 homes in an affluent area south of Los Angeles. The risk of further destruction forced at least 900 people to evacuate. No one has been killed, but 2 firefighters have been hurt. While investigators are looking into electrical circuit activity in the area as a possible cause, firefighters warn that these kinds of fires will be more common because of drought and climate change. Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, just days after she missed the state opening of Parliament, Britain's Queen Elizabeth makes a public appearance.
And the calendar still says spring, but Mother Nature is getting us used to summer. The latest on warm air and spotty storm chances next.
WYMT News app offers alerts on breaking stories as they happen, customized to the categories you choose.